Hi there. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. How are you guys? Long time no see. Hello, my
Hello,
fellow
everybody.
panel guests.
Hello.
How are you on this beautiful night? It's 10 o'clock.
We
Well, it's only
dredged to
three
solve
o'clock
some
in the
mysteries.
afternoon here.
So, just to say it up front, we had a pretty bad hailstorm here. So when I cut out or my internet is cutting out, I'm gonna come right back in. So just so you know. So I thought after airing the documentary last week, which got 99%, I must say, very, very good reviews and very good comments. I thought we're gonna do a little Q&A as far as we can do answer your questions. Um, I told you guys before that, you're going to be in for a little surprise. And I got to say this right at the start. Many people approached me saying, "Oh, you said it's NK walking out of the garage and this and that." Yes, I did say that because I thought it was, and it changed my mind, or I changed my mind after seeing an overlay a friend of mine did and learning more about halo effect. And just because I say that the person walking out is not female doesn't mean that she wasn't there, right? Um, I just cannot prove it. That's the problem. I don't think anyone can, leaving us with probably many more questions. But I couldn't say, I could have made it easy to say, yeah, this is NK, right? But I couldn't do this because then I would be a liar, right? So, and as much as I wanted to be her, I have to say it's not. And I have to stay to the truth, and I have to go according to the evidence. And it took me a long time to realize that it's not her. Still, people have their own opinions about this, and they can. But for me, it's not her. But that, like I said, doesn't necessarily mean that she wasn't there. Right.
Well, that's one thing we were led to believe that it was her. And if you go and look at all these other different channels, they had pretty well the same footages that you did. It's just that on some of the pieces that we saw, they were zoomed in. And where you see the ponytail, you can actually see like the face or facial, like eyebrows and stuff like that. But up until you had somebody else go in there and I don't know whatever they did with the filters and overlays, it actually took the ponytail away. The ponytail was still there, but as you said, it was a halo effect. So as the person's walking away, the ponytail is stayed in the same spot. It didn't follow with the person walking. So if you
Exactly.
look
And
at
it,
it that way, you know,
yeah,
for you to represent that that was still NK, you couldn't do that. Like you were telling everybody that you did find something big, and to me that is because if we were led to believe it was NK. I can say several channels. I'm not going to though that actually said this is NK coming out of the garage. You know,
yeah, we
and
gotta be, I mean, like I said, as much as I wanted this to be her, I can tell you the story how it went though. And Lady Sarah, no, Dawn, to be fair, thought from pretty early on that it wasn't her, but I wouldn't believe him. So what happened was I gave this to a friend of mine, Daniel, and I said, "Come on, clear this up for me and concentrate on the first few minutes when the female is walking out of the garage, right?" So he's not really familiar with that case, to be honest. I just wanted him to do an overlay because I kind of like suck at this. So, and he sent me an email saying, "Are you sure this is a female?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm sure, 100%, 1,000%." And he's like, "Nah, I don't think it's a female." And I said, "Well, there's a ponytail, right? When she walks out of the garage." And he kept on looking and he said, "Yeah, but your ponytail doesn't move with that person." And I'm like, "Huh? You gotta show me this." And then he did, and he said there's only one frame, and I believe Dawn can explain that to you guys even better than I can. But he said there's only one frame where you see the back of the head of that person, and it's not a dark-haired person. So either this is somebody who is bald or blonde or gray or whatever. And then, well, I saw it. So yeah, and I saw the ponytail we believed to be a ponytail is not moving. But after all these years, I I wanted to believe, or I believed it so bad that it was really hard for people to convince me, right? But Dawn can.
It's like when you told me that that's not NK. There was 2 weeks there that I couldn't say a darn thing about it, and had to wait for your documentary to air before I could actually correct myself, because I honest to God thought that that was NK coming out of the grad just like everybody else, you know.
Yeah,
So,
me too. Yeah,
but
but like I said, that doesn't mean that she wasn't there. We have so much circumstantial evidence, right? So the 111-minute phone call, they cannot remember. Both of them cannot remember, right? So, yeah.
and you have the 3 times where Nate's camera actually picks up on um, headlights in the driveway,
Yeah,
and that was on
exactly.
Sunday night too. So,
Mhm.
and one of them was when it would have been close to the 111-minute phone call too, when
Yeah.
it ended, because his phone actually disconnected from the house router, and then all of a sudden, the phone hangs up, and they don't text or call each other at all the rest of the night. So,
Right. And I believe what I wanted to achieve and to prove with this documentary is what I thought all along. My uh, point of view or my perspective of this case never changed from the start. I never thought that he is not guilty. I never thought that he didn't do this. I always said he did do this because he knew too many little details. But I am still convinced that there is somebody else involved, right? Or at least knows more than they let on. What I was trying to prove to myself first and foremost is some sort of premeditation. And as we know, he lies a lot and he repeats and repeats and repeats. If I had premeditated this, I wouldn't have done this. If I had premeditated this, I wouldn't have done this. Or wouldn't I have done this if I premeditated this? And things like that make me, this just deserves my attention because after learning that, all these things he lied about, he gives quite a bit away. So I thought this is a starting point where I have to be able to prove that this was premeditated, and I did. I think the images there was the big massive fallout he had with NK when she learned that Shanann was pregnant, and from this day on, you see clearly in front of you when it's all laid out, you see a change in behavior. And I believe this day started it. So, and he did premeditate this. He prepared the basement. He took pictures of the basement. He went out to survey, even though he was out on site uh, 2 years prior only. They knew that they had trouble with those sites, and they are soon to be dried up and abandoned. These are all things, and if you have it in front of you, like in a little timeline, you can clearly see that this was in fact premeditated. But that's my opinion, and I wanted to prove it to myself, and I think I did.
Well, that's one thing with the Discovery, the way they set it up, it jumps all over the place. At least the way that you did it, there is a timeline there where it does lay it all out to what actually happened. So
Yeah. Well, I do believe that at least one of the girls were gone after the birthday party. So, and when I put Cece's picture in and the report of the crime scene analyst, I mean, this was the person who saw her first, right? So I went by the first person to see the bodies and what they actually reported. Because after that, we see a change in description of clothing, like at least three times. So I just don't understand why they treated her with kid gloves, with all the zillions of lies she told, and not one charge. Um, yeah, that's what I wanted to know too. But I think I could explain that to myself pretty good, because if you follow the evidence, what people's, in my opinion, I have to say, what people seem to forget is that the deal or the plea agreement did not come from Rourke, right? That's the first thing. It came from his lawyers. So I was looking into who is benefiting from him taking a plea deal. So there was his lawyers, obviously, pretty much benefited from all that. Then, and of course, what did he want to do? He wanted to protect his lover, right? His mistress. So I still have a hard time to believe that somebody would take the fall or the blame to protect someone. But I see that happening because 2 days after, so her phone was downloaded on the 24th, and 2 days after, they come up with a plea, right? So this was always suspicious to me, and I think it's not the right approach to I mean, of course it's the right approach always to ask questions, especially the DA, right? But I don't think it's the right approach or get a case reopened if you get the DA Rourke on his nerves, right? Because you won't get the answers from him, I don't think. We can prove she was there. Why would she delete everything? Yeah, that's your answer right there. And also with her, um, she calls him, asking him weird questions like, "What is the name of my dog?" and BS like that, right? And the investigators, they don't pick up on that. The only one who's picking up on that is Coda for a quick question, saying, "Well, did she think you were arrested and we were on the phone?" So he is pretty quick in thinking. But Tammy Lee, on the other hand, she's like, sorry, and excuse my language, but I think she's completely stupid. How can you not pick up on something like this? And then she says, "Oh, so I think Shanann would know all the answers." And I'm like, what? She didn't even understand what he was telling her.
not at all.
I mean, just ridiculous.
Well, I hope Colorado feels safe because she's ahead of the CBI now.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Mary. That's nice. I have a little surprise for all of you guys too at the end of the stream. So stay tuned. Donna and Dave already saw it. Um, Yeah, sorry for the little delay, but I spelled a word wrong. I had to do it all over again. But yeah, sorry. I sometimes mix up like the German spelling of things and then with the English. And yeah, I'm sorry. All right, I give over to you guys, Don and Dave.
Well, I'm pretty well. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions right now before Don starts? Because he can more or less, like, if anybody's not sure about the halo effect, the big thing that was coming out in the Facebook group was about NK. You know, that, and they said that it was one of the better documentaries they've seen because it was all more or less everything was in a row. It wasn't jumping around. It wasn't just a bunch of what do you want to call it, news articles and stuff like that. It actually told a story as you went through it. But one of the biggest things with that, with Chris coming out of the garage, and it wasn't NK, but the way that the lighting worked because of the light outside of the garage there did give a halo effect, and that's where the ponytail came in. So it's the same footage that everybody else got to see. It's just that we saw it like a close up of it where you can see the facial and everything. But the thing is because of that halo, the ponytail stayed the same spot, and the person kept on walking. So, and I think that's a big thing because we were led to believe it was NK, but it wasn't. It was actually Chris all that time. So, but you have to think about why they went and redacted the actual body cam for the backyard and the tire tracks in the back there. They look like they were mud tires, the same mud tires as NK's Forerunner. And there was also people were calling in saying that this white SUV was driving around. So that there, you know, and the same thing with the 111-minute phone call where it stops and they don't talk anymore, you know. So, but what I'll do is I'll mute myself here and give it over to Dawn.
Thank you, Dave. Before answering to specific questions, I would like to take a step back and talk to you about your right to be informed as American citizens. Me and Tanya are European citizens. And frankly, we are amazed that you don't put pressure on the authorities that are pulling the wool over your head. And we are left on with very few bits of information, trying to extract the maximum information. And that is not easy and it is not right. Remember that you are paying those people that refuse to answer your questions. And specifically, I'm talking specifically about the VA office from Fredericks. So before asking us, or better, instead of asking us for more information, I believe it is your right and your duty to put pressure on them to ask questions continuously, because it is not acceptable to get in response only bad words from Michael Rourke. As you know, he has the habit of cursing everybody that ask questions as any other citizen. So to me, it is, I don't know, it is unacceptable. Other than that, what can I say? It is a case very similar to many other cases in the United States when the prosecution abuses the law, makes plea deals that are out of public's eye, and it is a habit that has to stop. Otherwise, we will do similar live streams 10 years from now, and nothing will change. If you are interested in justice, and I hope that Tanya's subscribers are not for entertainment or curiosity, but they want everybody to be punished accordingly, then you have to make a change in your attitude. It's not, I could talk about other things too that are not right in the United States, but I prefer to stop right now because we're talking a specific case. I hope you understand where I'm coming from, and I hope you'll do a change for the better. Now, talking about the footage, I remember that I've told you many times the the area of interest from the CCTV footage is very small. I mean, we're talking about 120 pixels by 90 pixels. That is very, very small. To be able to reconstruct or enhance the footage for that area, it takes a lot of computing, intelligent algorithms, and they are as good as the input is. It is different to enhance full high definition footage than enhancing an area the size of a posting stamp. So now I want you to remember that the CCTV camera is not better than human eye. When you are looking in a bright light, your eye, and then you look in another direction, your eye has a persistence effect that bright light forbids you to see exactly what is happening in the nearest area. The same thing happens with a CCTV camera. There is a sensor inside it. That sensor is blinded by the brightest source of light in the scene, and that is the lamp on the wall. Everything that is around that area is having a halo effect. It, let's say, it borrows the high intensity of that light. So the subject that we're talking about, that person.
Do you want me to pull that video up?
If you want, I don't mind, but I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. In those frames, when the person is closer to that light, the footage shows a halo effect, and there is indeed one single frame outside that halo area that Tanya talked about, and on that single frame of interest, there is no more any reflection or halo on the back of the head of that person. Now, we talked some years ago about the height of the person. even I did a comparison. But if we look in the footage, we see that person is wearing white slippers, shoes, maybe just socks, I don't know. Compared to when we see Chris Watts wearing boots, it is indeed a difference in height that could explain that we thought it is a female. Even the gait is changing when a man is wearing slippers. He has not the same gait as when he's wearing boots. So it is not that far-fetched to think at one moment that it was a woman, especially when we want it to be her. It's like with the UFOs. Those who believe in UFOs want to be true, and they are no more objective. Nevertheless, in the end, we have to admit that for many reasons, that person is not MK. But let's not lose hope, because it was impossible for Chris Watts to kill Shannon and transport her out of the house by himself. He had help. Other than
Do you
that,
have a typewriter in the background or something?
no.
It sounds like a typewriter.
Just my window is slightly open, but it's
okay.
normal
Yeah, I have to.
traffic.
I don't know. They are all with their motorcycles outside. It's so nice. The weather. It's warm. Spring is coming, so they're coming out with the motorcycles. It's pretty loud, but I have to leave the window open as well. So I apologize for that. So this is what we see, right? And this is what we thought right here. This is what we thought is a ponytail. But if you actually look closely, the face or the head of the person is here and not here. So this is just a reflection. If I let this just play for a second, you see that this area, what we thought is the ponytail, is not moving with the person. So it stays.
Yes, and moving
Ponytail gone. And here you can see him clearly, the neck, his head, the shirt, and the ponytail, we believe to be a ponytail, is not moving with the object, I would say. Here again, ponytail. Person is moving, then the ponytail stays. So you can pretty much see it here, because all this around is just a shining bright light, and all I did was put a different filter on. So I didn't change anything on the footage. It's the original footage. Don put his timestamp on, and this is all I did. Different filters. You can see it clearly that, okay, that's a bit too bit too pixelated. But here, the column of his shirt, the head, clearly, to me, it's clear. Like, and when I saw the ponytail not moving, this basically made it for me. And then the gate as well, in the overlay. Or this is too far. Hold on. Yeah, this is the daylight version. So the end of the CCTV footage overlaid with the nighttime version when he first comes out of the garage. So just so you see the gate. I mean, obviously I cannot put it all the way on top, but I'm gonna show you something that really sold it for me too. Just give me a second. Maybe it's his shirt. It's the same shirt. You see like a little rectangle on his shirt. It's the same height as well. The only thing I'm confused about is, did he go out with socks on? Or didn't he have any shoes on at all? Yeah, here. So this little rectangle you see on his shirt, it's the same.
You're talking about a
You
fold
see that here
on
and
his
here?
shirt.
Sorry?
You're talking about a fold on his shirt.
Yeah, right.
May I add something else? If we put everything into the right context, do you think that NK would have liked to be seen in his driveway? I doubt it. Because if we look on from the other way around, everything is visible. All the
Right.
neighbors could have seen her walking so nonchalant.
Yeah. It was her, Nicole Kessinger, walking out of that garage, and it was a female with skinny jeans, black boots, and a black long sleeve shirt. I don't believe you. Stop defending that evil witch.
Thank you for your opinion.
Sorry?
My answer is I was thanking her for her opinion.
Okay, good.
That's all.
If you watch the service station footage, his gait is different when he was wearing sandals than when he's wearing the boots, which relates more to the gate coming out of the garage. Yep, exactly. Yeah, with slippers on or flip-flops or what he wore, it's different. Obviously, I mean, I work in retail. Yeah, we have to wear heavy work boots. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have to tell you guys that I walk differently than in high heels or in flip-flops, right? So, did I miss anything?
No.
Oh, and by the way, I'm not defending her in any way, shape, or form. And I also don't like people to tell me what to say or what to stop and what to start, you know? Just
Yes,
saying.
she made a deal. This is the key of the case everybody wants. She made a deal with the DA.
Exactly. I mean, it gave it away when he said, you know, the comparison of their statements, like they don't differ. You know, I don't want to get her involved in this. I don't want to ruin her life. And then next thing we hear her saying, I told him you're gonna ruin my life, blah blah blah. He's even using the exact same words. So he's memorizing that stuff.
The written deal is in DA's office.
Yeah. No, Mary, he didn't. What you see and what is being presented on some social media platforms is when he bought the house or something, or he wanted to sell the house, I believe, like 6 years ago for the first time, 6 or 7 years ago. And then he had a back porch camera. And people tend to think that he still had it, but these were old pictures. He did have a basement camera though, but an inside one. So not pointing to the outside into the yard. The camera pointed basically to the inside of his, he had a little setup, like a living room area set up down there, and it was pointing towards the couch. You can even see that when he opens the menu of his Xfinity dashboard, you can see a live camera, motion detection, and basement camera. It's in the left little corner of the TV screen. But he doesn't have one outside. It's a shame he doesn't.
Can you show the movie I sent you today?
Yeah, of course. Which one? The 3D?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I have to see where I put it.
Meanwhile, let me tell you what is this about. I added a small person, a small girl in the scene, and a dachshund dog to see the difference in the shadows. Let me remind you that the scene I created is as close as possible in terms of dimensions, geometry, and intensity of every light source.
Okay, how do I get... there you go. Okay, do you want me just to start playing?
Just play it and I will explain.
Okay.
So initially, I will show you that I added two persons, one person and the dog. Then I hidden Watts, then the dog, and we're left with a very short, thin shadow. Not this one, sorry. It comes right now. Yes. The shadow comes mainly from the wall lamp and the light inside the garage. Then I hidden everybody except the dog, and as we can see, the shadow is very, very small. We would see the dog instead of its shadow because it is so small. And have a look, it is everything wide open. I doubt anyone would have walked outside just to be seen by the neighbors.
And don't forget, he knew that there's cameras.
Exactly. There are two screens side by side because in the left screen I'm creating the geometry and the right screen is only for the rendered scene for a high quality image. Yeah, and in the entire footage, in the CCTV footage, we see only one small shadow coming towards Watts. and he picks that small person, let's say. So that contradicts what Rourke said at the hearing in front of the judge, that Watts carried 3 bodies like garbage. That is a plain lie. We
I
can see
mean,
only
he couldn't
one
say
thing.
anything different, right? He had to say 3 times. No, he entered and exited 13 times.
Yeah, sure.
And to me, to be honest, what sold it for me that this didn't happen like the DA said. I mean, the whole Vivint is not released. Neither is his phone records, neither are her text messages or phone records, as you know, as in text messages and stuff like that. So what sold it for me is we have little pieces of the Vivint, and what sold it for me was the 4:23 a.m. the first movement or alert was at 4:23 when he opened the basement door. So it couldn't have been, as he said, with that emotional conversation and whatnot. It couldn't have been, because when he walks upstairs, he's passing a motion sensor. When he walks downstairs, he's passing the motion sensor. And none of that happened. Right? The first movement started at 4:23 when the basement door was open. So what I'm thinking, and I found I found something else I'm gonna present on a later date, because I have to talk about this with Dawn. I think she came right down. We got to remember, they slept separately for quite some time. He slept in the basement before she went to North Carolina, and he continued to sleep in the basement when they were back. Dave, I think you have to mute yourself. I'm having a bad echo. Thank you. So they slept separately, right? For whatever reason. Well, the reason is obvious, because I believe that they were in the process of separating or had discussed that before, right? So, anyways, yeah, this basically sold it for me. So what I believe happened is she went downstairs because she knew he was in the basement. He's sleeping in the basement. As she put forward to her friends, I even got a kiss when he went down to sleep in the basement. So even when they were together back in Colorado, they still slept separately. Right? So what I believe happened is she went down to the basement right after she came back, maybe changed her clothes, whatever, in the office or wherever, walked straight down and tried to talk to him, or maybe he ambushed her right away. That would explain the absence of any defensive wounds, in my opinion. Like I said, I'm not an expert. But yeah, this basically did it for me, that they said 4:23 there was no movement whatsoever on the main floor. And also the preparation of the girls' water bottles. He brings them in to their bed, right? Coda asks him specifically, tell me about, the timeline or the schedule from a school day. So he starts off with saying, he prepares the bottles for the kids, he brings them water to their beds, and then he prepares the backpacks with a set of change of clothes, and so on and so on. None of these things were found. No bottles in the bed, no water jugs beside on the nightstand, nothing like that. So to me, that proves that he, first of all, premeditation, because he knew he didn't need to prepare anything. Second of all, the movement, it happened in the basement. We have the tire tracks that's since been deleted from the discovery. We have all sorts of things that lead into the direction of the events, basically unfolding as I showed in the documentary. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to say.
What can we tell is just our suppositions, because we have no evidence. But again, if you
Well,
want to,
we do have evidence, because we have, people are saying, oh, they tampered with the router logs. But honestly, I don't think they did, because I don't believe that they ever thought, especially Colorado, they ever thought that there are people going into the great detail as we did, right? So I think they went into, oh, we just release everything, because they patted themselves on the shoulders, and they were a little bit too quick. They didn't think about what they actually released, and I don't think they counted on that backlash they got. And I think if that would happen today or this week or yesterday, I don't think that the DA will ever again release such an amount of data and documents they had in the Watts case. I don't think this is ever going to happen again.
why not? Why not?
Because they know that people are on to them. We're all intelligent people there, we're not stupid, but they think we are. Or at least the broad main public, they don't read into this. What the main public wants is someone who is guilty, off the streets, so they feel safe again. And this is what counts for them. But nobody really digs into that so deep, unless you're in the true crime community or you're a little hobby detective,
Yeah, but
Wendy, that's true. FOIA is the law. But to be honest, they released everything on their own. So nobody had to request anything, right? They came up in November as soon as he was sentenced. They came up and said, oh, here you have 2,000 pages of documentary files, of discovery files. Here you have 100 gigabytes of data. Not thinking that there are really people who dig into this as deep as, and I mean, come on, almost 6 years on. Yeah, that's true. They gave a pathetic discovery and it backfired on them. You guys remember how many inconsistencies I found? And now that this DNA data expert from the CBI is under the, fire for lying and manipulating, and, what are they saying now? Rourke says, oh, we didn't know anything. Oh my God. And that's horrible. And we're gonna go after her and blah, blah, blah. I think this woman is a scapegoat. In my opinion, she's a scapegoat. And you cannot tell me or make me believe that they didn't know about these things. Of course they did. She was working for the state. See, this is also a little difference between Europe. I mean, I don't know how it is in your place, Dawn, But here it is, you don't have experts working for the state. You have independent experts, like 3, 4, 5. They give their opinion, and then the judge makes a decision based on the independent expert's opinion, right? So you never have somebody, oh, I'm working for the prosecution, or I'm working for the state. You don't have that. It's
No,
like all independent.
there are no full-time experts in forensics,
No.
especially in very narrow areas of expertise. But there is something different in Europe. We don't make deals with murderers or accomplices of murderers. We made deals with, let's say, when there are thefts involved or lower crimes, but when there are murders, no, never.
Yeah. Well, this is with these plea agreements. I mean, I don't know. It's just not a good thing, is it?
It is a plague. It is a disgrace. See what
Yeah.
happens with the Delphi case. It is a total mess.
Yeah. Not only that, but look at Kelsey Barrett, for example, right? This woman, the mistress of her husband or her boyfriend or what it was, so long ago, she cleaned up the crime scene. And I was watching a good documentary on that case, to be honest. I just cannot remember what it was, like some channel, like 48 hours or something. Anyways, they did a good documentary, and the prosecution, honestly, he was questioned about why did you give her a deal. So she's only serving, I don't know, 18 months or something. He served for knowing what he did and cleaning up the crime scene. And she portrayed herself as, oh, I was so scared that he's gonna do the same thing to me as he did to his wife or wife. No, it was his girlfriend, I believe, at that time. So I did everything he wanted. She got rid of her phone. She cleaned the crime scene and all these things. And she only served 18 months. And honestly, the prosecution, an elderly gentleman, he was sitting there talking to the reporter, and he cried his eyes out. He cried his eyes out for having to let her have a deal for a lesser sentence just to get to him and make her the main witness for the DA. And he said he really said, I made a deal with the devil, and I can't stand it. And he started crying. Broke my heart.
Yes, but they knew the devil. We
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Where's all the text messages of NK helping Chris look for an apartment? They didn't release any of that or any of the texts between Chris and Shanann from Chris's phone, only Shanann's. Yeah, true. No, Lady Sarah, not NK is a scapegoat. That lady who was caught manipulating data from the CBI's office. Yeah, stop making deals with murderers. Yeah.
Deals are put in place of thorough investigation by professionals.
Yeah. Where did you get the information? Where do you get this information from about the DA? Are you asking me, Kim, or are you asking the chat? Shanann's mother always chatting with Chris. Yes. Mm-hmm. She was. yeah. So what else? There was something else I wanted to show you. Chris is a person that takes a lot of things literal. That's for sure. Well, what I cannot explain is the 8 a.m. phone call to the school. You just said he made a deal with the devil. Yeah, I was talking about the Kelsey Barrett case, where I saw in the documentary that the prosecution said under tears they had to make a deal with the devil in order to get him, you know.
And Chris Watts told the truth only when he was confronted with evidence. Like, for instance, when he was asked, where are the girls in each oil tank? So the interrogators had the information from somebody, guess who, but they wanted to know what girl was in what oil tank.
Yeah, and he got that right. And the reason, because it sometimes came up, and I just want to quickly explain that. The reason many think that Tammy Lee is actually pointing to the tanks. There's a glitch in the audio and in the footage. So if you extract both of them, the audio and the footage, and put it on the right spot, you see that she is actually asking him, are they here and here? You know, so she's pointing to the tanks, because many said, oh, she's pointing to the tanks in order for him to mark them with their names. So she basically told him where they were at, but that's not true. It's a glitch in the audio and in the footage. It's not a very good footage, to be honest.
Now, let's be honest, how many crimes, how many murders?
Oh, you have bad audio, Dawn.
Sorry. How many times, how many murders they had with small children put into oil tanks to guess they were there?
You know what? To be honest with you, I think that he believed they will never be found. Because this place, I don't know if any of you guys saw my Survey 319 oil kind of like presentation. Watch it, because there's so much information on the actual Survey 319 well site. I put all the documents in from the environmental office and all these things, and they were about to be abandoned at least 5 times since 2013 or 12, I believe, if I remember correctly. So this place was just a mess. Sorry, I had to mute you a second, Dawn. This was like beeping in my ears. Okay, gone. Why put the girls in the oil tanks? Why not put all 3 together? I don't understand that part. Well, it was pretty easy, right? And I do believe that I know the reason why 2 separate tanks is, and he said, "Oh, I don't know the reason why 2 separate tanks, and it wasn't on purpose and blah blah." I do believe that it's either, let me think about this. It's either that the oil levels would rise, But then on the other hand, I'm thinking, were they monitored that closely about the oil level rise? And I couldn't come up with an explanation or with proof that they did. So I was thinking on the psychological side, he put one girl in a tank, right? And he wouldn't dare to open that tank again because he didn't know what to expect when he is looking into that hole. And I think he was scared shitless. That's why the other tank. And I'm telling you, it might sound gory or gross, but I think if Shanann would have fit, she would have went into those tanks as well, in my opinion.
If there was a third tank,
What's that?
if there was a third oil tank,
Yeah.
yes, that's true. Colorado has a very specific place.
Yeah.
About kids, especially.
Do you think he killed the girls alone? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Not saying that, you know, a certain person didn't know about anything,
Call watch.
but I don't think she had a hand in the actual unaliving his family. I don't believe that. I think she was shocked. Maybe they spoke about it. And this is just, you know, my personal opinion. I think she was shocked. They spoke about it. And with being associated or in a relationship with him, she automatically was in on it in her mind, you know? So she tried everything to, I don't know, she covered a lot of things, man. I don't know. Very sus. 200 cameras in the Anadarko parking lot. No video of NK coming to work that day. None. No release of any security cameras that day. Nothing proving she clocked in either. Exactly. See, she stated in her interview, she told him the very last message they ever had was, if you did something to your family, you ruined my life, and I promise you that. So why not release this message? Why not release this? It would put an immediate stop to people thinking she was involved in some way.
She is not mentioned even as a witness.
Right.
To anything.
Yeah.
She was just a person, a poor woman that was duped by this.
Yeah. And her statement on the phone, well, I'm working with the prosecution, and it's, you know, that was all within the time frame where they had this plea deal drawn. And like I said, many keep forgetting, and they attack Rourke. I mean, not that I like him in any way, shape, or form, and I think he is, I don't even want to say it, but people keep forgetting that this deal came from his defense, and he told people back then, through his parents, he pled guilty for a reason. And I think the reason was her. Plain and simple. I'm flabbergasted by your new outlook, but I respect your opinion. Well, I did never really have a different outlook. I never stated my conclusion about this case. And the only new thing is for me that she wasn't the one walking out of the garage. And that's the only thing. I always thought that he premeditated this, and I wanted to prove it. I do still believe that he had some sort of help and he did not plan this all alone. But I think she gave him some sort of, I don't know, indirect instructions, if you will. I don't know how else to put it. But it all started, in my opinion, with when she told him she wants to give him his first son. She knew.
She was the catalyst of his decision to murder everybody.
Yeah. Great manipulator and liar. I think he did try to get rid of the girls before Shanann came home. Yeah, I see that happening because he repeatedly said they woke back up, they woke back up. I think Bella woke back up. And then you have the thing with the pictures, right? Why resend old pictures? Same thing. So something was off. Do you feel she was buried on Monday morning? If so, how do you explain the autopsy? I do believe she was buried Monday morning. Yes. You guys, there's a time gap, right? There is a time gap from 1:48, or I would say 1:51, because that's when the movement on Shanann's phone stopped, to 4:23. There was no router coming in and out. At 2:18, his phone reconnected to the router, and after that, everything was quiet. So there's, let's say, 1.5, 2.5 hour gap. So what did he do? Did he do in that gap? And I believe that she was brought out there in that 2.5 hour gap. How do you explain the autopsy? I don't know what you mean by that.
Exactly.
Um,
Do we have the coroner saying what time of death for Shanann he had? No.
What's that? Can you repeat that?
I had the same question about the previous one. The coroner didn't state when Shanann died. So what part of the autopsy has to be explained in relation to her being murdered Monday morning?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a pretty, in my opinion, a pretty slobby. And here again, I don't know if we have everything, you know? They could be hiding or whatever. But yeah, I think if this would have come to trial, I mean, that medical examiner would surely have taken a stand too, you know? But since it didn't, it leaves just so many questions. He hears words and repeats them, exactly. And this is also what he does with text messages. If you go in the discovery, sorry, and read Shanann's messages she sent to him, he accordingly replies to her. Like when she says, "Oh, the weather was great." Just an example. The weather was great today. We did this and that. And he would reply, "Yes, the weather was great. And we did this and that. And it was a lot of fun." So he repeats basically the question or the whole text in his response, that which I think is pretty odd. Dave G, you're so quiet. Did you fall asleep? Or is he gone? Didn't they say she wasn't in full rigor? No. They said it was released in the major muscle groups. You know, it starts in the small. Does it start in the small muscle groups, Don?
Yes, but more importantly, it is mandatory for the coroner to state the probable time of death.
Right.
I don't care about rigor mortis or other details.
All right.
He has to come with a very important information for the investigation.
Well, anyway, rigor is released in the same order as it appears, and the only thing the medical examiner states that it was released in the major muscle groups, so it was released fully. Any thoughts on the Google 2017? This baffles me. Yeah, I have thoughts. Like she stated numerous times, and so did her dad. She was out in the oil fields herself. And I think, again, only my opinion, I believe that she saw him out there, probably at a work site somewhere. I don't know. She was a contractor, right? She was working for Tasman, and we don't know for which company she worked prior to working for Tasman. Or maybe we find out, I don't know, but I didn't dig into this because it's not of interest to me. Anyways, I think they met probably, and this is just a theory, not a fact. I think they met probably at some oil well. And you know, many of us have Googled people, don't we? So I think she was just interested in him, maybe saw him, maybe spoke with colleagues or mutual friends or whatever, and she just Googled him. And one thing led to another, and she ended up on Shanann's Facebook or Googling for Shanann because she was his wife. So I think that this is not a big mystery, to be honest. People tend to think too difficult. Then the explanation is most of the time it's in the simplest things, in my opinion. That's
And
another thing. What's that?
I bet she Googled 20 other men, not only him, in 2017, because she was a lonely woman. Maybe she was interested to have a boyfriend, but we tend to believe that she was concentrated only on him. No, I don't think so. It was one of her searches on Google.
Yeah. Well, we see only searches related to that case, right?
Yes.
We don't know what else she did.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah. What a psycho wants to give a guy a son after only 6 weeks. That in itself should have made the detectives want to keep digging on her, even if it's on their own personal time. Yeah. Oh my God, in their own personal time, I think they did. You know, Catherine C., she had many encounters with Agent Saylor. And he's not believing the full story either, so we can say that for sure. Where exactly do you think Shanann died? Yeah, basement, absolutely. And people say, oh, there was no dead body, but you gotta keep in mind also that trauma dogs were installed in this case. So I don't know. Definitely not in the bedroom. The second dog didn't even go upstairs, and the first dog didn't give any command in the master bedroom. So NK was a master manipulator and a catalyst. She brought out every bad thing in him. It was premeditated, but only after he met NK. So that says it all. Yeah, I believe so too. How did he do all this in the timeline? You mean out at Survey, Sherry? Well, I think, like I said, there was this 2.5 hour gap, right? And I believe there was a lot going on in this time gap. So he did have enough time. He had 40 minutes unaccounted for out there in the morning. And yeah, he had enough time. Do you think the kills were girled on Sunday? Yeah. The fact that D.A. Rourke had no explanation for the 2017 search and didn't insist on finding out why that search says a lot about him. Yeah. I don't even think that he knew. You know, this came afterwards, I believe, from the media when he was asked in a press conference about the searches. And then he was like really caught off guard, it felt like. He said he did not know his marriage was in trouble until he met NK. No, I disagree. He said they fell out. The communication stopped for at least 2 years. And they didn't get along as good as before. And that they had issues in their relationship for the worst it got a year prior. So, and he also states in his interview that he thought another child would fix his feelings, which tells me that it was some sort of agreement between them to start over. And he, along those lines, he says something like that to Coder in, I believe, his first interview. He says, sometimes bringing another child into this world doesn't fix things. And that made me believe that either they planned on separating, and you got to keep in mind they are pretenders, both of them, Shanann as well as Chris. They didn't tell their families much what was going on. They didn't tell their friends much. And I believe they basically stayed to themselves. Even the neighbors told me that, at gatherings or something, you will never see them. They keep to themselves. They go say hi when they walk past, but that's about it. So they weren't that tight in the community like the others. They just didn't tell anyone. And I believe her friends or his friends. I don't even think he had friends. It was all her friends. I don't think they didn't know the whole truth up until Shanann thought, okay, I cannot fix this. And she reached out to friends, telling them slowly what was going on in their relationship, And I think it's not the truth when she said, I don't know what happened. He didn't, you cannot change in 5 weeks. What happened in 5 weeks? You don't fall out of love in 5 or 6 weeks. And he said that too. Falling out of love in 6 weeks is impossible. So they had stuff going on before. Why would he sleep in the basement? So that makes he slept in the basement before she even went to North Carolina, and then continued to sleep separate, and then continued to sleep in the basement when they came back to Colorado. So something's fishy. So just putting all of this together, It's sad because you think you know the case and then you don't, and everyone has their thoughts on this case, as do I. And for not know what was discussed at the Lazy Dog in the 111-minute phone call was an alibi. See, the Lazy Dog, right? I mean, this was international headlines for weeks. And none of the staff members ever saw them or recognized them, or, pictures were plastered all over the news and nobody ever saw them. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I think I mentioned that before, and I can just say it again. We had a case here in Germany, and there was a guy buying a gas can in a retail store. And basically what he did was very, very gruesome. He set his family on fire, right? And a year after, so it took them almost a year to track back where he bought the gas can from. And it ended up, the result being in that store. So they went in there and they showed pictures to the staff and asked if they remember this person, and they did, a year after. And you want to tell me that a week after that happened with Shanann and the girls, none of the Lazy Dog staff members remember him or her? No. Impossible.
Do you think that MK would stand out in the crowd?
She probably wouldn't stand out, but he kind of does.
For
Right?
the wrong reason.
And if you
Maybe.
if you put the picture together from them two, I'm pretty sure that at least one person would have come forward and said, yeah, they sat here and, he had salmon or whatever, and she had this, and they, somebody, oh my God, somebody must have come forward, at least seeing them. In my opinion, of course. Especially, this is not they didn't come in a year after the fact. They came in a week after, asking for footage, and we're talking to the bartenders and stuff like that. And none of these people could remember them seeing them. Isn't that weird?
Maybe they didn't want to be seen, and they took a table in a darker area.
I don't know. Also,
I'm sure they didn't want to be seen.
He paid with his credit card, right? And I think they're able to tell you what he bought. But we never saw that bill either. Did he even have drinks? Were there more people, or were there more than 2 meals? We know that he and see, this is the thing, and I don't know how to explain that. In July 26th or 23rd, he got a takeaway from the Lazy Dog in Erie, right? So he frequented that place recently. So he knows the way to that Lazy Dog. Why would he have to Google the Lazy Dog in Erie? It makes no sense. He knows where this place is. Why would he have to Google it? He probably Googled it for, I don't know, maybe a phone number or a delivery service or whatnot. But if you frequent a restaurant Yeah, and be there 2-3 times and get takeaways and all that. Why would you Google it? And another thing is, he told her, oh, we cannot meet up in my area anymore, or in that park over in her area where she resided, because my friend runs there. But then he goes with her to a restaurant in his area where he could be seen by so many people, including his co-workers, because they frequented that steakhouse that was pretty popular within the oil worker community. And it's right there as well. Oh no, I don't believe for a second they were in there. I think it was a takeaway.
They would have remembered Frankie if they heard her speak.
Yeah, probably. Probably. Where did you hear that no service remember NK and Chris? Where did you hear that see that? It's in the Discovery. They went in to get footage from the cameras, but in both restaurants, the manager came forward and said, well, the cameras didn't work or were overplayed with other, I think in that other Lazy Dog it was played over after 24 hours or something, and the other ones didn't work. So he asked if staff can provide any information, and they couldn't. None of them could. But just type in Lazy Dog in the Discovery and you'll find all the statements. The servers would definitely remember seeing the sexy empanada. Or empanada, or I don't know. I'm not a Spanish kind of language expert. I think Dave G fell asleep. He didn't have sleep for like 4 days in a row. Sounds like maybe Lazy Dog didn't want the publicity. Why not? Why not? Or did they use his card because they both figured she would be dead before she saw the charge? No, because that was Saturday, and oh, I see what you mean. No, I think she had like an alert or something from her credit card or whatever. Yeah, this is what I put in the documentary too, the 2 menus, and they are like, except a few things, they're all the same. He's snoring. No, Adrian, this is your part, the snoring. Jim at the end of phone constantly there that weekend while relations going on. Who is Jim? Yeah. Well, I don't think he has anything to do with it. I think she told him, I met a guy and he has kids and he has married and stuff like that. But yeah, but also he would be the one who could have given her an alibi, right? So why she was so persistent to Jim not being questioned, I cannot answer.
Talking about NK, Channing Cadell pretends that she found out the new name of her and her whereabouts. What do you think of it?
What I think of it?
Yeah.
Nothing. First of all, there's a court order. Yeah. So she changed her name to be off the public view. And I find it, I don't want to say anything negative, but I find it to, how do I explain it? It's very, very thin ice, to release. This is like a witch hunt. It shouldn't happen,
In
right?
her case,
As much as I want her to be prosecuted and to be looked at, I don't want, if you make statements like this, and the internet is crazy and not forgiving, right? If you make statements like this, you have to keep in mind that this person might be in danger. And this is not the right way to get on with this. This is not the right way. I mean, if she knows her name and if she knows her whereabouts, that's, congratulations. But why would you say things like that on the internet? Because it makes people, of course, it makes people ask, what's her name? Where is she? Not only putting that person in danger, for her life, also that is sealed. Her name is sealed for a reason. So why would I plaster that on the internet? If I don't want anything to come out, then just keep it to yourself. It's fine when you know it, and it's fine when you do your investigation, drive by, whatever.
Okay.
But don't say that on the internet.
Let's not forget that NK destroyed evidence and obstructed justice. And talking about dangers, Casey Anthony is still alive, and everybody knows where she is.
Can you repeat that?
I said that let's not forget that NK destroyed evidence and obstructed justice, just to name a few things. And talking about the danger of being exposed, Casey Anthony.
No. I'm not talking about the danger of being exposed. I'm talking about the danger of crazy people going there, probably doing horrible things they would later regret. Yeah, I'm not talking about exposing her lies, and we all do that, right? But see, I was talking just a good example. Okay, he was definitely innocent, but just for an example, there was this guy. He is his band name is called Morbid. And he was also featured in the Netflix documentary of the Cecil Hotel, right? For everyone who has seen it. And I was talking to this guy, and he went through hell. He had he was staying in that hotel, not at the time Elisa Lam was going missing, but prior, I believe, or shortly after. And he made a song that's called Elisa or Eliza or something. And he's a dark person, like, wearing dark clothes and stuff like that. He received death threats because some stupid internet troll got the public to go after this guy. And I'm trying to get back into contact with him, and I'm going to have him on my panel, and then you can ask him all about it. But this was, oh my God, this guy went through hell, and not even the police. When the police and the media made a statement that this guy has nothing to do with anything whatsoever, not related, they still didn't believe it. And they still went after him.
Yeah, but the comparison is not right. Comparing an innocent person with NK is not right.
Yes, but I was giving that example because
Yeah,
you know,
generally
just
speaking,
to know what the internet is capable of.
sure, generally speaking, you're right. But in case of NK, I would make an exception.
No.
You know, you will not find one person to say that she is truly innocent.
No. Hell no. Hell no, she's not innocent in my opinion.
And
But I don't want either I don't want anyone to be in danger either.
sure, but what innocent person wants to hide his or her identity?
Yeah, but Cadel is also in danger. I mean, why would she plaster that on the internet?
Maybe she has good information, and I don't remember any unlawful act to put in public her identity. Is she some kind of special witness?
I think she was scared of the backlash after
That's
the
another thing. That's something
Netflix.
else. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I think because she went in there as soon as it came out that the Netflix documentary will be mentioning her name. And then we saw the court coming up.
So do we have to let karma do its thing in her case?
What's that?
Do we have to let karma do its thing in her case?
Unfortunately, I would say yes.
If people stay passive, yes. But as I said, and I repeat, if people want to know what she signed, what statement she made in front of the DA and the FBI, they should go for it at any cost. Because the DA
Yeah, but
is not
do you think they will find out that way? I don't think so. Maybe she didn't even sign anything. Maybe it was enough when he told his defense attorneys, "Listen, I want to leave her out in this," and they said, "No, it will all come out when this case goes to trial. She will be grilled on the stand, and then everything will be laid like right in front of a jury." And he did not want that to happen.
the public has the right to know everything with several exceptions to protect the victims, but she is far from being a victim.
Oh yeah, she is.
So the DA has no right to hide those things from the public. Well, he does that only because he has some kind of political support, because he's a narcissist. And I want you to remember to everybody that press conference and his stupid swaying dance. For people who know about body language, that swaying dance says a lot about him.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's the wrong approach to pressure him. The one who should be pressured is Chris Watts. And he will never, ever, like you said, he will take this to his grave. The same as I'm convinced the Oxy stuff never happened. Because he just had to go into the basement. There were tons of totes full of medication.
I have no expectation from Watts, and I don't care about him. But the DA is employed by the public. He has no right to say that you don't need to know what kind of deals I did, what kind of statements I had from several people. That is annoying, to say the least. I'm getting angered.
But
Sorry?
he is not giving anything out. Remember the threats we received? Remember the numerous emails I send in, oh, it's not in the public's interest?
I don't care. You know, American people should remember they have the power.
Yeah.
They have lost a lot of freedoms year by year. And do they have to learn it when it is too late? That they have not any kind of rights and they are slaves in their own country? I doubt it. But if they want it, so be it. I have to be very blunt. And if I'm offending somebody, it is for a good reason. Such people like the DA and many other people from the political spectrum, they are laughing at you. They despise you. They despise you. If you want to do nothing, so be it. But don't ask us to do magic.
No, we can just make, spread awareness and expose what happened in this case. And that's all we can do. He's running for the DA again. And now his major thing is, this woman didn't even, where she only had, I believe he said 85 cases working for him. And now election is coming up again. So he will take that CBI analysts manipulation and make this his story. He's doing everything so that this will be solved. Right? And people will vote for him again, I think.
Usually before the elections, that skeletons are brought to light. But in this specific case, if locals believe that punishing Watts was enough, what can you say? So it's their decision.
Yeah. The same with the interview, for instance, when Plunder, she requested we had the audio of NK's interview and she requested the video. They wouldn't give it to her until she threatened to sue them. And then they said, all right, we release it, but first we release it to the family, which is, in my opinion, not right either. Because she made the Freedom of Information Act request. Why would it go to the family? Makes zero sense. Or does it to you? Does it make any sense?
No.
If I put a request in, I want this information because I requested it. What has this to do with the family? Nothing. And they don't think she was involved anyway.
Request implore, let's say, American people to ask for the written deal between NK and the prosecution plus the FBI. I dare Michael Rourke to say there is no such written deal. I dare him.
Yeah.
Because there are people that know otherwise.
I was re-listening to one of his interviews of DA Rourke, and he states, I wanted to make it a part of the plea agreement that he has to tell us the truth. So he didn't even believe in what Watts and everybody else was saying either. And I don't think he believes it to this day. Does he have more information? I don't think so. But yeah, he didn't believe it either. And then he states on camera that we never get the truth out of him.
Okay, I want to be more clear. I'm getting angry, but because this guy.
Okay, let's change the topic real quick. What would be your suggestion, starting point on getting more records, files, etc. from DA Rourke? I agree with you, Dawn, 1000%.
So, in case the DA doesn't know or forgot, the FBI had a major role in that investigation. Short investigation, but nevertheless, an investigation. NK had at least one interview with the FBI that we know of. I wouldn't bet in Michael Rourke's place that the FBI doesn't know more about the deal, the written deal I'm talking about. So if he thinks that he can issue a statement saying there is no such written statement from NK, again, I dare him say that in written paper.
Right. If we
saying that it is, but saying that's right, but saying that it is not in people's interest to know what kind of deals he did, that is an abuse
right.
of the law.
If we ignore this case in the DALLE, Weld County and media collaboration, it just continues. Yeah.
This is just the tip of the iceberg. We know two cases that will come sooner or later, the Delphi and the Idaho case. Of course, there are many, many others. Thousands,
yeah, but the Idaho case, for me, it's hard to get actual facts and information out of this case because everyone is reporting bullshit. You know, it's all hearsay, and we really have to wait till 2025 till the trial comes out and then make a conclusion on this case because and I will stream those if it's public. I will try and stream those court appearances because it's too much misinformation out there about the case and so little facts.
I'm not talking about what YouTube creators are saying. I'm talking about the similarities between cases in terms of what prosecution does. They are trying desperately to hide information, to put pressure on the inmates and I'm praying they resist to get to the trial.
Absolutely.
As you know, Richard Allen is very ill.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he's guilty, but the last time I've checked, a person has the right to be considered innocent before proven guilty. So he is coerced in a very horrible way. The Idaho case, Krober there is stronger. I think we will have a big surprise. I've said it many times.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Hopefully the entire system will be cracked down with those abuses of the law and hidden agreements, some of them unlawful, and just because they are not smart enough to do an investigation, that doesn't give them the right to make plea deals with murderers.
Right. Oh well. I believe the FBI still has a major role and are the only department that does. All other departments have said cases closed, except only FBI. They are not satisfied. They state they're not satisfied. Yep. That's so true. That's such a true statement, Mary. I believe nowadays it's guilty until proven innocent. It's really true. It's sad, but it's true.
Somebody changed the laws, and people have to stand up.
They gave the
think-
video to the R's as they wanted them to be gatekeepers for it. Are you talking about the video Rourke says he saw them, being carried out like trash? There was no such video. Because if there was, why were they so surprised that Bella was still alive? If Rourke didn't know from the start that everybody was dead and they were transported in his truck, and he saw that on tape? No. Mm-mm. It's all a lot of BS in this case. Yeah, but since Dave G fell asleep and
now he's moderating.
I didn't know we were that boring. No, just joking. We're not boring. We're just having a nice discussion. All right, you guys.
10 channels at the same time.
I'm going to wrap this up now, but I promise you that I have a little small surprise. Even though, yes, Sherry, I believe that he took them out the back. Like I said, we're going to continue spreading awareness. I'm not going to be as much on the Watts case as I used to in the past years, but I'm still going to be investigating and finding new stuff. However, I'm going to be moving on to different cases as well, and I already have something in the line. It's a case from the UK. And I personally was there, so it should be interesting. So with that being said, I still, have a little surprise for you, and I'm going to show you right now. But before I do so, I thank everybody who had participated in that little Q&A today. I hope I could make, or I hope I made some things clear and could clear some things up for a better understanding. Thank all of you who had reacted so kind and nice to my documentary. And again, I gotta say, it's not like I was waiting for a year or so, or 6 or 7 months and sitting in my little office only doing the Watts case. It's just not like that. everyone has a life, right? And I'm just not that invented anymore in the Watts case as I was, because I think everything is found, everything is said, and all we can do now is basically just keep on spreading awareness, talk about this case, trying to get some sort of justice, some sort of answers. And yeah, that's basically all we can do. In my personal opinion, I don't think that as long as Rourke is the DA of Wells County, there will be any answers. I think as long as Chris Watts is not talking because he's scared that he will be moved back to Colorado, or whatever, I don't think, and I don't ever think he will open his mouth, because he's part of that agreement, right? So anyways, before I show you my little new intro or outro, better said outro, I wish you all a very, very nice weekend. Stay out of trouble and drama, first and foremost. There's too many bad things happening in this world right now. So focus on positive things and spend a lot of time with your loved ones. And yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna see you very, very soon in the next live stream. Good night.
Good night.